this is another animation technique. So I have the transform set here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can use another property called transition to create animation, but it's using a hover along with transition. So if I have transition set here
Mm-hmm.
and I have a hover down below,
Mm-hmm.
the hover is changing that transform. When I hover over that,
Oh,
actually do a smooth transition from one transform to the next. So here I have this word all, and what it means is it's transforming everything you have listed here. The amount of seconds is how long it takes, and then you can ease into it. So that's another animation
mm,
type technique, which is pretty cool.
got it.
It gets transition has another there's another property called transition property, and if you use that one, it doesn't do it smoothly. So there's transition and transition property, and just make sure you use transition by itself without the word property.
Got it.
Effect. So transition is another way to do animation, but you're using it in unison with the hover pseudo code that hover. So it's a great way to have, let's say, in your navigation menu,
Mm-hmm.
have buttons that smoothly change color from
Mm-hmm.
one color to the next. Um, so it's a nice technique. And then here I'm using transform with rotate as well. So I got transform in size, transform in position, and transform in the rotation.
Got it.
You just got to remember with rotation, the units are in degrees. So DEG is the type of unit that you want to use.
Got it.
Scale doesn't have one. Now I'm curious why scale. It might be this right here, this space. Let's see if that changes. There you go.
Oh,
Now,
it was just a space.
yeah, so yeah, the one thing with transform is it does not like spaces in between the units and the actual value name.
Got it.
Now, if I uncomment this, now it should give you the full effect. That's pretty cool. So
But I do notice that it does get really pixelated if it's not. I guess like if it's not the if it's not of the right quality to do it in.
that's definitely going to get pixelated.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna fix it automatically.
No, it's never
Huh.
going to fix that because you're basically scaling up something that's already set at a certain resolution and size.
Got it.
And everything pixel based is going to be resolution. You say it's resolution dependent. Everything
Mm-hmm.
depends upon the size.
Got it.
But you could use a vector graphic and save it as an SVG file,
Mm-hmm.
do a sprite strip like that, and then it wouldn't pixelate at all.
Okay.
I did this in Illustrator, created my
Mm-hmm.
sprite strip, and had my increment set up, it wouldn't pixelate.
Got it.
Um, so those two techniques are um, the techniques that I cover
Mm-hmm.
in the unit, and it looks like a lot of code, but it's pretty basic once you get it down.
Yeah.
You just need two things. You just need keyframes with this name that you pick. It's generic. You can pick whatever
Mm-hmm.
name you want. And then you use percentages, or you use to and from, and then you have your curly braces. And inside the curly brace, you're just modifying a property. Any CSS property you can modify here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you use this animation property up here, and you just got to make sure that this name here matches
Matches.
the you set in keyframes.
Got it.
You're binding these two things together. They call it binding.
So your move X is purely just telling the code that I need these transformations to be done. That's
Yeah,
all that's doing.
MoveX is a generic. It's just a name that you pick,
Mm-hmm.
and saying that if I have MoveX here, I want to look somewhere else in my code for
Mm-hmm.
a keyframes rule with MoveX. Like if I change this to Bill,
Mhm.
it's not going to work because,
There's no bill for it to look for.
yeah, it has to look for Bill over here. But if I add Bill,
Then
so,
you're good to go.
so that's just a name that you pick to tell the animation property to find the keyframes rule, because the keyframes rule is establishing the end points, the start points, or the actual each percentage you would in animation in the world of hand drawn animation is a keyframe.
Got it.
So a keyframe signifies something that's changing. It's the key. Um,
Oh,
what it is the keyframes in the animation, the most
I,
important frame.
I just realized it's the same keyframe word as After Effects. I just got that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, key After Effects and
I get I
now,
I
yeah,
get it now.
terminology, because it's all coming from classical animation.
Got it. Got it.
Disney, um, frame, cell frame animation.
Hmm.
The exaggerated points, the most exaggerated points in the animation were the keyframes.
Got it.
And then you had the in betweens, but you don't have any in betweens here. The in betweens here are basically all,
The percentages.
well, they're all done by the computer. So,
Okay. Got it. Got it.
yeah. So,
All right. I mean, that's all the questions I had for that part. The rest I'm gonna save for our office hours because there's some stuff after. There's some stuff I want to try first before I ask you those questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
So these two concepts, keyframes and um, the transition property, are probably the most two complicated parts out of the unit, and the easiest ones are video and creating GIF animations.
Got it. Yeah, I did the GIF and that was like super easy. But I feel like there must have been a reason why you also mentioned the keyframe one. So I want to understand that. I wanted to understand that a little more.
Yeah, because you can just do a lot more really fun, kind of cool things.
Yeah.
Um, you could probably keyframe video, and let's say you had a video. Um, you could probably do some interesting effects where you're scaling up video, let's say. Um,
Mm.
or you can keyframe two things and have them kind of overlap and do all sorts of kind of interesting things. You could probably keyframe a GIF.
Hmm.
Let's say your background was a GIF, and you change like the scale of the GIF, or you rotate your GIF.
Yeah.
So you can start to combine all these things together in really interesting ways. So it's really good to know all the different possibilities, and then you can really experiment.
I do like the freedom with the keyframe because there's so much more you can really do with it. I do like that a lot more.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then, um, the transition here too is nice for interactive things
Yeah.
um, as well. So,
Okay. Oh, quick question. If I wanted to change my layout a little bit, did you want us to resubmit the wireframe? I mean, yeah, the wireframe.
no, you don't have to resubmit it, but if you
Okay.
want to adjust your layout, that's fine. You can change it.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for me. I appreciate the explanation you gave today.
Yeah, so I think these two explanations will be helpful for people if
Yeah.
they want to try this. And what I'll do is I'll include the code in. I'll throw the code for both of these
Okay.
Canvas so people can use these. In fact, I could just this code and throw it right into Discord for people.
Actually, yeah, that'd be awesome.
So if they want to, yeah, if you want to experiment, people can take it. And then for the what I'm going to do is actually for the gallery example too.
Hmm?
Um,
Wait, which one's the gallery example?
the one that the nav bar you're working on.
Oh, okay, okay.
Some people had are kind of struggling with some of the positioning with the flows. So I have a template that I can share that people can kind of dissect it.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, if it has a scaling thing, I think I'm having so much trouble with the scaling. That's the hard. For me, it's like for some reason hard.
but there's going to be a unit after this unit with the animation where we talk about uh, Bootstrap, and
Oh, okay.
Bootstrap, you start to get into responsive design, and that's when you start to talk more about um, changing the scale of your page elements based on the type of device that's being used.
Oh, awesome.
The scale is more important, so we'll talk about that in the next unit in more detail.
Got it. Got it.
So yeah, so that's
Awesome.
all. I wanted to go through those two things tonight. I uploaded a new video just on taking video. You know, it's super simple. You know, everybody can take video with their phone,
Hmm.
but you can bring all this video into Photoshop, and there's also plenty of YouTube downloaders um, that you can find for video as well. But just do a search for YouTube downloader. But
Hmm.
I'd be cautious about using some of those because you don't know. Um, there's all these crazy buttons on those pages sometimes. So
Oh
just
yeah.
what you use. But I recommend using your phone.
Okay.
Draw in Photoshop, like I did in the one video on the keyframes animation when I'm creating a sprite strip. I just draw.
Hmm.
I create my strip and I just draw in there. And you can even use photographs, a series of photos as well. So there's all sorts of different ways to get the video or to get the elements in for the animations. You know,
Hmm.
find one and then just make sure it fits within the wireframe and the area, the space that you have allocated for it.
Got it.
So, so yeah.
All right. Well,
So
thank.